I'm going to say bear with me, I'm losing my voice, but I'll go ahead and get started. The title for my presentation is Comparing the Effectiveness of a Primary Reinforcer Alone or a Conditioned Stimuli Paired with Reinforcement for Teaching a Cat to Come by Name. The reason why I did a study to teach a cat to come by his name was actually my own pet who I had access to during this project, and he generally does not come by name except for during meal times when he hears his food. And then some main reasons for the doing the study as well, for safety reasons. Sometimes he'll go into the basement and he won't be able to be found, or he doesn't respond by his name, so we don't know he's down there, and then he can't access his food or his water, litter box. And then also if he were to get out, you'd want him to be able to respond by his name quickly. So for this study, I'm going to be comparing positive reinforcement of a primary reinforcer and then versus a conditioned stimuli paired with positive reinforcement to see which one is more effective at increasing the behavior of coming by name. The participant is a cat, like I said. He's a domestic short-hair cat, 7 years old. The setting is in my house where he lives, and mostly in the main living area. As far as previous research that has been done, there hasn't been too much done with training cats. I did find a few animal studies, and then not necessarily any having to do with coming by name, but one of the studies I found, Wilson et al. 2017, they were comparing 3 different types of positive reinforcement: primary reinforcement, secondary reinforcement, with a bridging stimuli, and then alone. And they had found that the bridging stimuli followed by a primary reinforcer was most effective. The secondary reinforcer by itself was not effective. And then primary reinforcer was the most time efficient, and it was also effective. So that was something that I was curious to see how that would turn out in my own study. I think I had mentioned I'm doing an alternating treatments design, comparing those two, and then I will also have baseline data and best treatment phase in there. The dependent variable is coming by name, and then the independent variables, conditioned stimuli paired with the positive reinforcement, and then positive reinforcement alone. In baseline, Julius is the pseudonym for my cat. In baseline, I was standing 10 to 12 feet away from him and just calling a name and seeing if he would respond. And he responded 1 out of the 5 trials on 2 days. And then on 1 day, he did not respond at all. And then also within this study, I'm doing 5 trials per session, and they're 5 minutes apart. And then in the actual intervention, standing 10 to 12 feet away, and in intervention 1, the treat bag is shaken, and then his name is called. And then in intervention 2, it's just his name being called. And then in both of those procedures, I'm waiting 5 seconds to see if he begins to come over, and then if he does walk towards me, I'll wait another 5 to 10 to see if he will approach within 3 feet, is what I was considering a correct response, and then it would be marked as a plus on my data sheet. And then if there was an incorrect response, it would be marked as a minus, and then he would be prompted by me approaching and calling his name, or shaking the treats and then calling name. And in several cases, he actually ran away when I approached. So that was something that I had adjusted and I had learned from the assignment. The intervention of just name called only didn't really have much of an effect on his coming by name behavior. The treat shaken and then name called did have an effect on that, because it jumped from about 20% accuracy in baseline to 60 and 80%, and then that one was also used in the best treatment phase, and it was 80 and 100% for responses. Something that I would continue would be to continue the best treatment phase in a further intervention, and then also add in prompting phases to begin with if I had more time, and then also like more generalized environments or further away requirements for him coming by name or not necessarily being seen. I kind of predicted the results of this project, so it'd be interesting to continue and see what would happen with this intervention that did have an effect on his behavior, and it would be interesting to continue.